Hey guys, I'm in the process of cleaning out this oven, and I thought I would just demonstrate how this door goes together. So I've already got this thing pulled apart. I'll show you how I put it back together so you can see how it comes apart. But the first time, I mean, this is not an uncommon issue. So, you know, you have something boil over the stove. You probably can't see that very well on the camera, but this got all streaks down the inside of the glass. And this happens all the time. You know, these ovens have vents and stuff in the front. And if you have something boil over on the stove, it's not uncommon for it to get down in between the glass. So this is the glass in the door, or I don't know, this is like the door kind of front plate, I guess, the decorative part of the door. And then this is, of course, the door itself. And I'm actually in the process right now, as you can see, of cleaning up just years of goop from the inside. I've just been scraping this. I'm just using, look at that. I'm just using some citrus degreaser, spraying it down. I need to clean the inside yet, and I'll just probably use, you know, Easy Off or some kind of oven cleaner. But so this door, you can see I've already taken this thing apart. So there's really only, let's see, I think there's 6 or 8 screws that hold this thing together. And I'll show you that in a minute, but I've already cleaned, so I've taken the degreaser. So this glass panel was all full of crud. So I took the degreaser to that. Before I put it all back together, I'll take glass cleaner, get it nice and clean. I am in the process of cleaning the inside there too. And then this outside panel, I'll get this all nice and clean too. So again, I'll degrease everything, and then after I degrease it, then I will use glass cleaner to get it nice and clean before I put it back together. And I'll show you kind of how that process works so you can see how easy it is to take it apart. All right, so I got the inside of the door mostly clean. I got most of the goo off. Like I said, I'll use oven cleaner in there before it's all done. What I'm going to do here is kind of work backwards. So the door itself, I've already degreased that glass there. And incidentally, you saw me using a razor blade. Razor blade works really good for, use the degreaser to loosen stuff up, and then a razor blade works good to really scrape it loose, and then take a rag and wipe it off. So I'm just going to clean this up real quick. This is that area that is seemingly impossible to get to when you just look at the oven, but just by taking this door apart, you can get to this and get all your streaks off of here. So I'll clean this up quick, and then I'll continue with the assembly. All right, so next step this has a kind of an inner glass, which I've already cleaned up, and try to keep my fingerprints off of this. But what I did to take this out is there's 2 kind of holders on either side that this glass slides into, and it just has 2 screws on each side. So I just took the top screws loose, and as you can see, kind of tilted those to the side. I'm just going to stick this back in here. Slide these back over, and then on this particular model, it just has some 1/4-inch screws that go in here. This is a Frigidaire, by the way. I've done different ranges, and they're all relatively similar. All right, so we got those on. Tight. And then I also took off it's got these keepers. One on each side. All right, so now it's time to get the actual outer panel cleaned up before we reassemble that. Degreaser first, let that soak for a little bit. This one isn't too bad, so it doesn't need the razor blade, just a little bit of cleaner. Not too bad, I say. Everything's relative, right? I should mention, this is actually a stove that I pulled out of a house that I'm flipping right now. And the stove itself isn't bad. The top has a few scratches on it and some kind of, heat marks where it looks like the burner was, I don't know, left on too long or something. So this house I'm working on, everything is new, so I decided to go ahead and buy a new stove for it. But this one is way too good to throw out, so I'll probably throw it on Marketplace and sell it. Back in the day when I was a landlord, I looked for used appliances like this all the time, and actually when I had rental properties is when I actually learned how to dig in and clean some of this stuff out, because appliances aren't cheap, especially this day and age with all the supply chain shortage that's going on. So I got the stainless panel all cleaned up front and back. It's not perfect, but it's way better than it was before, and you won't see that, so that's good enough. Now I'm going to transition to the glass and do the same degrease on this. Again, this is all stuff that you can't reach unless you take that door apart. All right guys, so I got the oven all back together, and unfortunately I just realized that I lost footage of putting that door on, so I'm going to show you how to take this door off. But before I do that, I don't know how well you can see this out here, but it's clean. All those nasty streaks that were in between the glass are all gone, and it's nice and fresh. So let me show you. Even though I've put this all back together, I'm going to take it apart again just so you can see how this goes. This is the most important part anyway. So there's 6 screws that hold this together. So this handle, there's a screw here and a screw here that takes the handle off. That also holds the top of the door. And then on the bottom of the door, which, maybe I can show you if I get down here. On the bottom of the door here, there's 4 screws on the bottom. So the first thing to do is to remove those 4 screws from the bottom of the door. All right, so once those screws are off, the only thing that's holding it now is these two screws that hold the handle on. So you want to be kind of careful when you do this, because this glass that's behind this stainless front is just setting in there. So you want to make sure you're supporting it. Loosen up your handle. Once the handle's off, that whole front panel comes off. And these keepers here, these press against this glass on the inside that hold it on there. So that's how it comes apart. To go through the whole process that I just showed you to clean it, now to put it back on, what I'm going to do first is line up the screws that hold the handle once you get a couple of, once you get these handle screws snugged up, then that'll keep everything in place so you can work on the bottom. Probably easier with 2 people. All right, the handle screws are just, oh, I got my door all dirty. Just snugged up. I don't have them real tight because you might need to kind of jiggle back and forth to get these bottom screws in. But you get the technique. I don't need to show you again. That's the process. Pretty simple and easy. So if you look inside there, besides the dirt that I just put over it, the inside of the glass is all nice and clean. Those streaks are gone, and it's just like a new oven. Hopefully you guys found that video helpful. If you did, do me a big favor, hit that like button. If you're interested in seeing more home improvement videos like this one, make sure to subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you in the next video.